Hi, yesterday I watched one of the main releases coming this December, Leave the World Behind, released on Netflix. It's based on the novel and is written for the screen and directed by Sam Esmail, one of his, I think it's his first major feature film, although he's been very successful on television with the series Mr. Robot and Homecoming. Star of Homecoming, Julia Roberts plays the lead role and is joined by Mahershala Ali, Ethan Hawke, and Kevin Bacon. It's the story of a upper middle class New York family seeking to escape the rat race for a few days, rent a villa in Long Island. As they travel out there, they notice the internet uh, access seems a bit spotty, and they enjoy their time there. Although it's rather disrupted by a huge oil tanker beaching itself near their house. At night, after everyone's gone to bed, a man comes to the door, African American man, very smartly dressed, along with his daughter, and says that it's actually his house, but he had been staying in the city and was unable to return to his apartment after a blackout, and so wants to stay in his country retreat. The two families reach an uneasy truce as they start to explore what's actually going on, as TV goes off and services start to collapse. The film is absolutely awful. It's an extremely middle class, an extremely Guardian reading, facile exploration of ideas of race and class in a way that looks embarrassing that this should be regarded as in any way profound. The book was originally published in 2020, later in the year, having presumably been completed by the start of that year. So the obvious parallels to COVID make the whole thing look extremely old hat in a way that the author of the novel couldn't reasonably have predicted. But with the film, we've been through all this. We've been through lockdowns. We've been through these situations of strangers in the home and this kind of distrust. This is all stuff that we know. This is stuff that the audience has actually lived through. So why is it telling us this like it's some kind of revelation? It seems completely ridiculous. It's utterly tone deaf in that sense, and it's overwhelmed with a sense of fatuous faux profundity of the wit and the intelligence of its banal statements about, well, yeah, there's tension between wealthy people of different races. Yes, I know because I live in the world and I see the news and I'm not a moron. And ideas of class, because America still seems to be struggling with the idea that class exists, or at least a lot of the artistic projects I see seem to treat it as though it's some kind of remarkable revelation. Um, Esmail's script is extremely poor. The characters don't speak in a normal way. Julia Roberts' character has a monologue in her first scene where she explains why she's a misanthrope, except she's telling her husband, with whom she has two children. Why is she telling her husband something that she already knows and doing so in such a weirdly written theatrical way that's completely unnatural? Um, their daughter is obsessed with Friends, the TV series, and all the way through the film is worried about being able to see the series finale. And this thread, which makes really no sense and doesn't add anything to the story, is tagged on at the end with the end credits of the film, having "I'll Be There for You" by the Rembrandts, the theme tune from Friends, playing over it. And I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know what point they think they're trying to make or why they think this is funny or clever. It is a film that thinks it's very, very clever and yet repeatedly demonstrates how stupid it is. What's I thought most entertaining is it was produced by Barack and Michelle Obama. I have no idea why they would want their names attached to this or why they think this is a good idea. Um, Certainly, there's a lot of talent. This is to borrow a phrase, a talent bomb. There's a lot of very talented people in this movie, and yet it's absolute shit. It's the worst film I've seen this year. It's a very self-important, self-regarding, fatuous rubbish, convinced of its own profundity and intelligence and um, insightfulness. But it really has absolutely nothing to say to anyone with any level of awareness or common sense about the Western world as it is today. Making a film about lockdowns 2 years after COVID became livable with, um, and treating it as though it's something strange and remarkable, I think is wildly tone deaf and completely baffling. It's an absolutely awful film. As I say, it's the worst film I've seen this year. I might well see a worse one. I haven't seen The Flash yet. Um, but it's dreadful. Don't watch it, for God's sake.